Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time, we went back to the Martyr and had to deal with the Prophet of Decay and his Nurgle warband. They said that they wanted to release a Great Old One, or Great Unclean One, which is a greater demon of Nurgle, which was also trapped somewhere in the area with the Alpha Pariah. And then we shot them, and now we have to go and deal with getting to the stasis chamber and subsequently dealing with the Great Unclean One.
I am approaching the stasis chamber. That was the plan, yes?
One thing I don't believe I ever covered was more of the specifics on greater demons of chaos, because each chaos god has essentially one main demon associated with them. You have the Great Unclean One for Nurgle, you have the Bloodthirster for Khorne, the Keeper of Secrets for Slaanesh, and I think it's the Changer of Ways for Tzeentch. You typically don't hear about either Tzeentch or Slaaneshi greater demons. When it comes to Tzeentch, you hear about Screamers and Flamers.
Loading.
And Screamers and Flamers are these weird little normal chaos demons that, as the name kind of suggests, the Flamers shoot flame. And you got the pink Screamers, you got Horrors. They're all just super deformed enemies that just run around and cause problems. Plus, thanks to how Tzeentch and Slaanesh operate as more of running cults instead of outright warfare, you don't usually see their demons, especially their greater ones, in play. Like Khorne, he's gonna bust out Bloodthirsters whenever possible. Similarly for Nurgle. And of course all the factions also have demon engines and stuff. Like, there's the Plague Reaper, which is a Baneblade, but it's a giant Nurgle-infested one. The barrel is big snot-looking barrel that spews corrosive, like, bile on enemies and goop. There's... I can't remember the name of it. There's a Khorne, like, greater demon engine that's, like, it's the lower half of, like, a treaded tank kind of thing with some blood canisters on it, and then it's like a centaur because it's mechanical tank body and then a giant, like, humanoid torso, arms and head, and it has like a cannon that can shoot boiling blood or skulls. It's got an axe in the other hand. It's kind of cool.
This needs to remain confidential, Tech Priest.
And that was just stuff showing that other Inquisitors were working with Uther Tiberius. But a lot of the big, like the Plague Reaper, the Brass Scorpion, You usually don't see those in normal, like, tabletop matches because of their point value, and because anything can kill something if it's lucky. So there's always the off chance, you know? Someone can shoot a Baneblade with a plasma gun and blow it up, so do you really want to dump a ton of points into a singular unit and run the risk of just a wall of fire being thrown at it? Or do you want to avoid that? And I can see the value in avoiding that, you know. It's cool to flex on your enemies and be like, haha, here's my dope tank, but if I can get 4 squads or even like 3 squads of units in its place, it's kinda hard to justify switching out for the tank. Who are these? Oh yeah, still playing Marines. For a second I thought it was Word Bearers or World Eaters. I was like, why are they here? And that's something from last episode that when I was talking about factions really need to be fleshed out. I think that could be done with Chaos as well. Just general war bands, and there's a lot to be done, because there's like the Blood Gorgons. They had a book done on them, and it was the coolest book. I really enjoyed reading it, and what they were was they followed Chaos, but they didn't worship it. They were just pirates, and I think you could have a rule set kind of built around that. Hey!
Are you prepared for what is to come?
I see that you have gained some control over these vessels.
The thing in the walls is a trapped presence that has been haunting the Martyr for centuries. I have been fighting it, but now, with the seals broken, it could be free.
I will take care of this thing in the walls, whatever it is.
But I think you could do pirate groups and honestly just give some of the kind of ignored Chaos groups some attention. Give the Fallen some attention. Seriously, like, I'd like to see the Fallen just come out and start fighting, or have some conclusion brought to that. Because with the Dark Angels are like, oh, well, they betrayed us. But the whole thing is you have, like, Cypher, and Cypher works with everyone. And that kind of plays into an idea of maybe he has a better understanding of what's going on than most people in 40K. Having been, you know, chased by the Dark Angels for so long, he's kind of developed this understanding of like, hey, these guys aren't right. They're not necessarily wrong. There's a greater thing at play here. Plus, I just find it funny how we're still fighting Chaos, but we have to deal with the Tyranids. They're still coming. And it's just like, yeah, Tyranids who completely absorb and strip planets' resources. Let's just ignore that. We gotta fight, you know, Tau, some dumb weeaboo space communists.
Loading.
You know, that's a greater threat. Admittedly, the Tau are kind of a threat thanks to the ethereal class and their ability to control others. But it's just kind of, you have to wonder where the priorities are. And that's another thing is with the with the Dark Imperium and all this new 41st Millennium stuff, we just kind of forgot Tau existed. It's like, yeah, you know, the Empire's split in half, we got this new warp anomaly, all this bad stuff's happening, and Tau are doing whatever the hell they're doing, we don't care. Same as the Necrons. You have some rather interesting characters within the Necrons, and it's just like, yep, they're a thing, doing stuff, moving on. I'd like to see more from the Dark Eldar. I always think about how there's a gun within the lore that shoots, like, essentially this hypodermic needle into enemies, and it affects them with this virus that turns people to, like, glass, I think it was?
Loading.
Glass or salt. It's some, you know, Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot's wife kind of deal, where people get messed up. And it's like, oh yeah, we weaponize this virus that we encountered. The end.
Reloading.
I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Why aren't the Dark Eldar fighting each other with this? Why aren't they fighting the Eldar? Why aren't they just messing people up? With that kind of power, you could set up planets that just let you farm slaves. You can turn people to statues, my dude. Use that.
Pain is salvation.
The only faction I understand not having some super significant role in the lore right now is the Orcs. Because the Orcs just do what the Orcs do. They have no primary command structure. Unless somehow some of them started creating like, all the weird boys got together and created a council of representatives for Gork and Mork, which they're not gonna do. That would be interesting. And admittedly, I'd like to see new groups for the Orcs. But as much as I enjoy the Orcs, I'm not sitting here like, we need more Orcs. It's like, no, they're actually, as a faction, pretty well off. They got some neat stuff, they got some neat units. I don't know in terms of tabletop if they're in a good place, but I think in terms of kind of their unit roster, you can't really go anywhere super crazy. I mean, even with that, if you do go kind of crazy, it's possible, but it gets, I think, a little too crazy. Like, you could have, if you want to add a new unit, you could have an anti-vehicle unit that, this is niche as hell, but if you know what a Hwacha is, you could do that, because that's something I could see Orcs making. And to explain what a Hwacha is, it's I know Koreans used them back long ago, but it was effectively a cart with a vertical piece of wood that would hold a ton of they're essentially arrows with little rockets on them, and they'd light them all and then just rain down a ton of arrows, and they could rig up something like that with a bunch of rockets and have an anti-vehicle weapon that infantry kind of cart around.
I'm ready to use a rosette on the psychic barrier. Magos, are you certain that this won't have grave consequences? Do you have any idea what she could be? is happening? But that wasn't supposed to happen. And what exactly does that mean? Are you telling me that by opening the barrier, I have unleashed that thing trapped on the ship? I'll make the necessary preparations on the ship then, before I enter.
Alright, so that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to hit the like button. It helps out the channel a lot. If you are new, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.